As Muslims celebrate Eid al-Fitr, President Tinubu reiterates solemn duty as custodian of trust under the mandate of Nigerians.
Nigerians re-echo the role of mothers as pillars of the society.
Lekki, Italy-based businessmen arrested over illicit drug shipments to Nigeria and Europe.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the 2025 Eid al-Fitr.
You're looking gorgeous. Definitely set for the Salah celebration.
Of course. I'm hoping that, one of my Muslim friends would, extend an invitation to me today.
Okay. Well, it's been 1 month of intense fasting and praying for Muslims around the world. The exercise, which also featured giving out of alms known as zakat, culminated with the sighting of the new moon.
Yes, the sighting of the new moon indicates the beginning of Eid al-Fitr, officially signaling the beginning of the celebrations. But since the Islamic calendar is lunar, the exact date of Eid may vary from country to country, depending on the moon sighting.
Before performing the Eid prayer, Muslims are required to give zakat al-Fitr, a special charitable donation. Thereafter, a special communal Eid then takes place in mosque, large prayer grounds, and open fields early in the morning.
The prayer consists of 2 rakas or units of prayer with additional takbirs, which means saying Allahu Akbar after the prayer. Now, the Imam delivers a sermon reminding worshippers of gratitude, unity, and faith.
And faith indeed. And in summary, Eid al-Fitr is a celebration of gratitude, completion, and renewal. It marks the end of Ramadan, a month of fasting, prayer, and self-discipline where Muslims express their thankfulness to Allah for granting them strength and spiritual purification.
And during the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, Muslims wear new clothes, enjoy special meals, and offer prayers, including the Salat al-Eid, to seek blessings for the coming year.
So on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall take a look at the 2025 Eid al-Fitr, what the celebration also means to the Muslim. Welcome to the program. I am Ademola Adeoye. Compliment of the season.
And I must add that you look dashing yourself. So just in case I don't get an invitation, I'm sure we could plan something. What do you think?
Open check.
All right. I'm Ian Ray John. Compliments of the season to Muslims across the country and beyond. Thanks for joining us. In our usual style, we'll take a look at the newspapers, but that's after the news. Dennis Adenkuluye is looking good himself, so I'm wondering if he has plans. Dennis, by the way, is there a venue or something? I don't mind joining you.
Well, since we're all in the spirit of giving and celebrating, maybe I'll join the 2 of you later after this program, and we'll
Nice.
have a meal together sometime. Good morning, Nyenre and Ademola. Good morning, Nigeria, and compliments of the season. President Bola Tinubu joined Muslim faithful at the National Prayer Ground, Abuja, for the Eid al-Fitr Salah, marking the end of this year's Ramadan fast. The President implores the faithful to carry on the spirit of giving and other lessons learnt in the month.
We should give thanks to Almighty Allah. We saw the beginning, we started together, and we are ending together in good health and in happiness, in prayers for our country, for all our people.
I am just a custodian of trust under the mandate of Nigerians and committed to leading Nigeria to greater prosperity. That was President Bola Tinubu speaking as he hosted a delegation of Federal Capital Territory residents who visited him on Salah homage. On his 73rd birthday, President Bola Tinubu says he has chosen to continually advance Nigeria's progress for citizens and generations yet to come.
What I believe in the cause of retooling our economy and changing the narrative of our nation.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has felicitated with the Muslim faithful on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr, asking them to pray for the unity of the nation. In a statement, Akpabio said, as Muslims celebrate, they should continue to pray and work for the unity of the nation on this joyous occasion that ushers peace, happiness, and spiritual renewal. He calls on Muslims to remember and uphold the values of compassion, kindness, and generosity that define the spirit of the just concluded Ramadan. And the need to appreciate and honor mothers for their roles as nation builders, the backbone of families, childbearers and nurturers, as well as pillars of society, have been echoed as mothers at the NTA Chapel of Resurrection in Abuja Anglican Communion celebrated 2025 Mother's Day.
The church is trying to emphasize the need for honors to be given to mothers because the societies that we live in is gradually drifting, is gradually dishonoring women. And we all know that women are the reason for our existence.
President Bola Tinubu has appointed Dr. Ibrahim Yahaya Oloriegbe as chairman of the National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA. A statement by the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, indicates that the appointments of the former senator representing Kwara Central will be for an initial term of 4 years. It adds that the appointments took effect on March 11th, 2025. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested a Lekki-based businessman and proprietor of Damilion's Takeout, Arokodari Damil Ebenezer, in connection with the shipment of 60 parcels of loud, a strong strain of cannabis from the USA to Nigeria. The 43-year-old businessman was arrested at Bay Lounge, Admiralty Way, Lekki area of Lagos, where he conducts his illicit drug business, on Monday, 24th March 2025, while he was expecting to take delivery of his latest drug consignment. His arrest followed the seizure of his cargo that's arrived Nigeria in 7 big cartons at a logistics company in Lagos on the 12th of March by NDLEA operatives of the Directorate of Operations and General Investigation. Well, that's the news at this time. Good morning, Nigeria continues after the break with Yenre and Ademola.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, with undying demand, we bet solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Ethnicity is unique, we have more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria, strengthening unity, we know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Afam Bogeneka, Ebim Nagara Dimawa Village, Abuja, Nazo Afeba. So Esom Nandi register na NSR government register with my NIN. So government wears them ATM card. Njiwe wete 25,000 naira 3 times. And ega haya mketa barumulu na dem. Eji megoro makamihe. Jikweru mehendozo. Thank you.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
In the heat of the summer, Okada seats feel like hot plates.
How do I cope with this heat?
And how do I cope with that bad odor?
By staying 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on hot days, the sweating and the odor are more. That's why you need to get the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which offers up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation and protects you from 99.9% odor-causing germs.
When you're low on energy and need a break, give yourself a treat. Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Smooth. Crafted from cocoa, milk, and sugar. Creamy. Chocolatey. Frothy goodness. Rich taste. So satisfying.
Cadbury 3-in-1 Hot Chocolate. The treat you deserve.
The holy month of Ramadan is here again. A month to submit to the will of Allah, a month to share, a month to care, and most importantly, a month of goodness. Start well and end well with the goodness of peak milk at Sahar and Iftar, and share the nourishing goodness of peak milk with everyone around you. Ramadan Kareem.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next is Newspaper Review. Stay with us.
All right, we have Chukudi Okolie Waja with us again this morning. Chukudi, Baraka Sala to you. How you doing?
Baraka, my dear. The solemnity of the occasion yesterday was quite touching. You know, there's this thing about the Muslim community I like. I see a lot of brotherhood. When the community life, there's something they have that I admire a lot. I saw a lot of it yesterday when, you know, the Salah, you know, happened. One can only pray that God has answered all their prayers and even put Jara on it. And those of us who find it hard to fast, may we learn from people who are dedicated to fasting. You know, my father would tell me, Chukudi, these people who fast, is it that there is no yam in their barns anymore or their gari is finished? And I said, but it's necessary for you to fast. I think I took after him. It's a pity.
So you don't fast?
It has so
I
many
do,
benefits.
but I start shaking after 4 hours. We're on national television.
So which means
I'm not going to confess all my sins to Nigerians here.
All right, let's see what the papers have, you know, because I cannot take your confession. It may be too heavy for us. So let's just see what the papers have quickly. We'll lead with the Blueprint newspaper.
Okay.
Chukudi.
Is that, okay, go on, please, go on.
All right, of course, Eid al-Fitr is on all the papers this morning, and that's the lead story on the blueprint. It says Tinubu, Sultan, Alaafin, others urge compassion, charity. The riders, governors happen, love, religious harmony. Nigerians would regret backing Tinubu for second term. That's according to Ganduje. Away from that, just below the masthead, 2023 VP slot, you lied over reason for your choice. Wike replies Atiku. 2023 still making news. Above the masthead, tragedy. Nigerian boxer collapses, dies in ring during fight. Very sad development, and that's on page 16. Looking below the picture story, we have unremitted revenues. Reps secure $14.2 million from oil firms. Shoot recoveries to 50 billion naira, as 4 others get 7 days to remit $23.2 million. Below that, Lassa fever killed 118 Nigerians in 3 months. That's according to NCDC. Next to that, 9 die, 11 injured in Katsina lone crash. Umbata Muslim community will never discriminate against anybody in Enugu. And finally, from the blueprint, we have Serap National Assembly withdraw bill proposing jail for Nigerians who don't vote. Okay, that's on page 28. Let's see what the Daily Times has this morning. The Daily Times leads with something completely different from Eid al-Fitr. It says 109 new Nigerian newspaper workers die awaiting payments from northern state governors. And details on page 2. Below the picture story, we have Northern Khan condemns Uromi killings, urges calmness as governor sacks commander. Without a waste report, no genuine electoral reforms, according to Okechukwu. And choice of PDP warning made strategic, not popularity contest, Atiku tells Wike. Finally, from the Daily Times, we have reps recover over $14 million from oil companies as recoveries now exceed 50 billion naira. Fantastic. Ademola.
Right, I have the leadership newspaper with me, and just above the nameplate, reps recover additional $14 million from 4 oil companies. Details of that story can be found on page 4. CDS condemns killing of 16 hunters in Edo. Details of that story can be found on page 10. Federal government mobilizes pension funds to finance 5,000 kilometers of roads. Details on page 7. Nigeria records 118 Lassa fever deaths, 645 cases in 33 states. Details of that story can be found on page 7. Muslim faithful celebrate Salah amid tough times. Details on page 4. Show love to the vulnerable. Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, governors, others preach peace, unity, councils for religious harmony. 1,700 die in Myanmar earthquake. Details on page 7. Explosion kills 2, destroys goods in Delta. Details on page 10. NDLEA nabs Lekki Big Boy over drug shipment. Details on page 14. I'm happy Tinubu has confidence in me. Wike. Details of that story can be found on page 10. And we have the front page picture there. President Tinubu, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, the Vice President Shatima, Minister of FCT and Minister of Information and National Orientation there, where the FCT Minister, presented a card, a Salah card, to the President. Chooks.
Yeah, Demola, I am a bit sober this morning. The cooling we received from rain on Kakshi axis has helped. You can see that I don't look very rough-handled by the elements anymore. But my soberness actually arises from the killing of those 16 hunters, in Edo State, people who were on transit. As much as one would applaud the assistance that is coming from vigilante groups and all those other paramilitary, I should call them now, whatever good effort is coming from them, if it is not regulated, it is a problem.
Yes, that's it.
Non-state actors need the discipline that goes into training a policeman or a soldier in handling firearms and even deploying rage, control. If you consider how bad the economy is and how poorly paid policemen are in Nigeria, they should be shooting at least 200 of us on a daily basis. With that, the AK-47 and the rest of it. But they have the kind of training that restrains them. That is what is missing in the Edo State scenario. So you have to caution people, however good your intentions towards vigilance, however good it is, you must exercise restraint in responding to whatever perceived threats are in the environment. It's a most unfortunate incident.
Yes.
And I'm very happy that the Edo State authorities are saying, fish them out, get the people who did this. It is very sad. The sanctity of human life is very important. You remember those days they would say you take a robbery suspect to hospital, or rather, doctors would not treat you if they didn't know what caused your gunshot wounds. Even now they tell you, treat him. He's a human being. Even if he's a robbery suspect, we'll handle it from there. That is how much the sanctity of life should be respected in this country. But bloodletting, in fact, sometimes I'd say, God, I hope Nigeria is not going through a spiritual problem. A lot of blood has flowed on our streets. It's a big shame. Those of us who believe in God, those of us who believe in faith, sometimes we tell you that your problems could be spiritual. We have to be careful. We are not stashing up more spiritual problems for this country. How can you just kill people that way? It doesn't make sense. Let them please get these people and tell them that is not how to live. It's not the wild, wild west.
It is not. Just like you said, it's important for them to be trained. This is one of the issues that were raised, when they were talking about this issue of vigilantes and all that.
Yes.
This issue of jungle justice and not going through the proper channel. It's unfortunate, really, really unfortunate. We just hope that things like this will not reoccur, in future.
They are very important.
They are.
The police will tell you these people are helping us.
But
they need to work closely with official security agencies, because they will tell you what the rules of engagement are. Very important rules of engagement. Even in war, your enemy, you should not shoot him when he has raised his hands. These are things they obey, It's really unfortunate.
All right. Of course, away from that, sad story, looking at other stories here, we must, talk about the messages during Eid al-Fitr.
Yes.
We hope that, all Nigerians, not just Muslims, would imbibe the message of Eid al-Fitr. Like you already mentioned, fasting itself, being patient to go through hunger, dealing...
It's a tall order.
Honestly, and sometimes you have food, but you just can't eat, and all of that. So I mean, charity, compassion, love,
exactly.
The message.
A matron that retired from a hospital on my access said the beauty of it was at the end of each day's fast, the way people will bring coolers of food. Look, that camaraderie, that community life. I mentioned it when I started.
Exactly.
Let us extend that compassion to all Nigerians in every facet of life. The Englishman will tell you, have a heart.
True.
And do you know that when they break the fast, it's not limited to only Muslims.
Exactly.
Even if you are not a Muslim, you can partake of the
yeah.
That is how it should be.
Yeah. Because I did actually.
You did?
I was taking...
Yeah, you look partially well fed. You took some of...
So I always target 7 o'clock. So I
have been sober. Now you want to set him on one.
Now there is this issue.
Barakah to our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Federal government mobilizes pension funds for finance to finance 5,000 kilometers of roads.
No problem with that, but please, the money should
be
go
refunded
to those people. Where you saw the new Nigerian 109 new Nigerian newspaper workers die awaiting payments from northern governors.
That is it.
I don't know why the paper was particularly mentioning northern governors. The governors could cite paucity of funds or lack of it, but the insistence on our part is that a worker deserves his wages.
Exactly.
Don't joke with it.
And the retiree deserves his pension.
People think the sins in the world are only adultery, fornication, lying, dishonesty. When you don't give a man what he needs to feed his wife and children.
Thank you.
Your priorities matter.
Thank you, Chooks.
You're committing a sin.
Thank you, Chooks. Thank you.
I thought you said Pastor Chukwu.
All right, we'll take a break now. The Good Morning Nigeria continues after this break. Stay with us.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during interment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
The new Happy Sachets. It has a thick formula, so all you need is just one sachet for your toilet bowl. It gives 10 times better cleaning and big savings too.
Wow, Helen!
Sparkling clean toilet with Happy Sachet.
In the heat of the summer, Okada seats feel like hot plates.
How do I cope with this heat?
And how do I cope with that bad odor?
By staying 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on hot days, the sweating and the odor are more. That's why you need to get the new improved Dettol Cool Soap, which offers up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation and protects you from 99.9% odor-causing germs.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
Nigeria is perched on a treasure trove of solid minerals. Gold, coal, tantalum, tin, but none is more critical to our future or the world's future like lithium.
Let's talk about illegal mining operations. What is our strategy?
Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA, and to begin our conversation this morning, which is on the 2025 Eid al-Fitr, let's quickly see this background report put together by our correspondent Tokwe Alabi.
Eid al-Fitr, or the Feast of the Breaking of Fasts, is one of the most important Islamic holidays, a time for gratitude, generosity and togetherness as Muslims come together to celebrate their faith, share happiness and strengthen bonds with family and friends after successfully completing the Ramadan fast. Eid al-Fitr lasts for 3 days, beginning on the first day of Shawwal upon the sighting of the moon. Unlike Ramadan, when fasting is obligatory, fasting on Eid is prohibited, emphasizing the importance of celebration and gratitude. The festival is filled with prayers, charity, feasting, and joyous gatherings.
You have to show your gratitude to Allah who allow you to fast, because many have gone. But you, alhamdulillah, you have fasted, then you have to show your gratitude. So that is why that Salah day was earmarked for Muslims to come out and celebrate.
A special communal prayer takes place in mosques, large prayer grounds, or open fields early in the morning, consisting of 2 rakah or units of prayer with additional takbirs saying Allahu Akbar, with the Imam delivering a sermon or khutbah afterwards, reminding worshippers of gratitude, unity, and faith.
Ramadan has taught us that let us hit the ground and start running. You felt the hunger like any other person who is hungry will feel. You felt the thirst, but you had self-discipline and self-control. So that discipline should continue even after Ramadan. Assisting others in need should continue because we have been there. We felt what they felt.
It isn't just about new clothes and good food. It's a day of immense spiritual blessings. However, many people celebrate without realizing the hidden rewards Allah has placed in this special occasion.
We should now start practicing what we have been taught during Ramadan. We should share. So whatever you have now, share it to your fellow women, particularly the women and the needy.
The period of Eid al-Fitr provides an opportunity for Muslims to reflect on their faith, strengthen their spiritual connection with Allah, and strive for a more righteous life.
Thank you, Tokwe, for that background report. It's actually a season for sober reflection. Thank you. And now we have in our studios our guest to discuss on the 2025 Eid al-Fitr celebration. We have in the studio Dr. Musa Olaofe, Chief Imam and Saruddin Society of Nigeria. Dr. Olaofe, you are welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right. Also joining us here is Ustaz Yahya Garba Al-Yolawi, is the Chief Imam, Area 10 Jumaat Mosque. Ustaz, you are welcome.
Thank you. God bless you.
And still with us here for the conversation is architect Abdullah Musa Pen Abdul, an Islamic cleric. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, and yes, we have a woman as one of our guests this morning, looking radiant, Dr. Rashida Sadiq, an educator and a life coach. Baraka da Salah to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
All right, let's start with the Chief Imam of Saruddin Society of Nigeria, Dr. Musa Olaofe. Well, Baraka da Salah once again.
Baraka da Salah.
Okay, let's look at, the Ramadan has come, and but the lessons and the teachings still remains with us. So tell us, what is the spiritual significance of this season? How does it relate to the end of Ramadan?
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. We started Ramadan very successfully, and it has come to an end. Could see that during the month of Ramadan, everybody behaved normally, and then we see that a lot of sober reflections in whatever we did during the month of Ramadan. So we can see that other things that follows, during the month of Ramadan, people observe their prayers regularly, they behaved normally, and then the love was sincerely extended to many others, including those who are not even Muslims, because that is the spiritual aspect of having a good fast during the month of Ramadan. And not only that, the Muslim Ummah all over the world will do the same thing at the right time and at the same time. We break our fast, we fast together at the same time, and then peaceful coexistence is part of what we are even discussing. Nigeria to be more stable in terms of all the good things Allah has endowed the entire nation with. So that is why, since Ramadan is over now, let's continue what we have been doing during the month of Ramadan in terms of good relations, and then even talking politely, even bringing good things to the country. And if you go back to the Holy Quran, what Allah says, "Idhu ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah wal mawhisat al hasana." Invite people to the fold of Islam with wisdom and good preaching. So even those who want to preach now, you should always encourage people to do the right thing instead of unnecessary criticism, things that can never bring any joy to us. We should run away from it, because what we need now, that even after Ramadan, the lesson we have learned, all those things we have done during the month of Ramadan, it makes you to look very new. It makes you to look very calm, and then it makes you to be more happier, even to yourself and those that are very close to you. So that is why it is very important that Ramadan 2025 has gone, but the 5 daily prayer does not go to anywhere. Good behavior does not go to anywhere. Your actions, your behaviors, even towards your country. And you always talk good things about your country instead of unnecessary criticism and be telling people this country, I don't even know where the way it's going. So if nobody can come from anywhere to come and do anything for us, except we Nigerians, that we have to put us together to make the country great.
Many thanks, Chief Imam Dr. Alaofe. When you said Ramadan makes things new, I agree totally, because looking at our guest right here in the studio, it doesn't look like, you know, you had 30 days of fast. You know, everybody's looking really good, looking fresh, looking new, like you rightly said, and you know, and that is very remarkable. I'd like to get to Dr. Rashida Sadiq. You know, I want to know how you feel about Eid al-Fitr and what it's like for a woman. I'm asking that because, you know, for the men, they just do the prayers and then come and eat when it's time to break fast. But it's the women that would cook and, you know, do the running around. So is it that Eid al-Fitr is like a relief from, I mean, all the fasting and still having to cook and make sure that, you know, there's something to break fast and all? What is Eid al-Fitr, you know, to a female Muslim?
Thank you for that question. And it's one that takes a lot of contemplation from me because we are all different. So I'll probably be saying what Eid al-Fitr is from my perspective as a woman, maybe my perspective with the women that I have around me, my family. So for us, Eid al-Fitr is a time of worship. It's a time of gratitude. It's a time of relief to an extent, because then you don't have to wake up at 3:30, 4 a.m. to go to the kitchen. But it's so much more than that. For me, personally, I don't cook on Eid al-Fitr. That's my family tradition, myself with my husband. When we leave the Eid ground, in the past, we used to go to an eatery, have fun with the children, come back home, relax, and keep on reflecting. Because part of our sunnah is that on the Eid day, we are saying the takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So we just keep on reflecting. Sometimes we visit friends, sometimes we have friends visit us. And even when the friends are coming in, what I do is I get drinks, I get small chops, I get catered in. If I'm going to cook, maybe I'm making some fried chicken, just something light. I don't stress out on Eid al-Fitr. All my stress is left for Eid al-Adha. I keep my stress for that time. So for me, it's still a time of reflection. It's a time of community. It's a time of joy. It's not a time of stress. The only relief maybe is that, okay, that particular morning, I didn't have to wake up at 4:30 to cook, but I still wake up because the waking up in the middle of the night is about tahajjud also. And I try to want to continue because Ramadan is a time of building habits. And even on the Eid day, we try to make sure that those habits that we've built during the Ramadan, we don't kill it. So we wake up for tahajjud, we try to wake each other up, you know, to pray. And then we can go back to bed and then wake up for Eid. You know, the night before we've gotten our Eid clothes, everybody's excited. So it's a time of excitement. My children are talking about henna. My children are talking about, Mommy, I want to make my hair. I want to do lele. I need a new cap. So all of those are the things we're talking about on Eid morning. It's a time of joy and celebration.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sadiq, for that. It's a time of building habit. I think I like that. So let's come to Ustaz Yahya Garba Al-Yawali. Well, I mean, we have been talking about the Eid al-Fitr and the importance of it and the significance and all that. So let's continue to reflect on the values of that Eid al-Fitr on Islam, such as compassion, generosity, gratitude. Can you just tell us more about it?
Yes, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. The significance of Eid al-Fitr, most especially in that Eid celebrations, you know, before you even go out for Eid, you are expected to give Zakat al-Fitr. And it's all about putting a smile in the face of poor and needy. Because as you are preparing for Eid celebrations, someone is thinking of what to eat. It's a very good lessons there for we to put aside our comfort zone to make sure that we put a smile in the face of others. This is one. Secondly, and you also is an opportunity. Maybe you have committed 1 or 2 sins, you have told 2 or 3 lies. So the essence of giving that one, some scholars says, is because you can be get some expiations of your minor sins and will uphold your fasting to the next level. So what we are saying, the another thing that one need to learn and to uphold is about organizing yourself. A very silent point there. You can see in Ramadan we have time for everything. You need to plan. Planning in your life is very key. Organizing your time, organizing your life is very key if we really want to develop and grow as individual as well as in the nation, as the nation. So we can see there is time for tafsir, there is time for tarawih, there is time for iftar, and also time for sahur. Likewise, when you come, there is time for itikaf. So even the Eid also, and even the giving of that zakat al-fitr has time. If you do it after Eid, it is not accepted as zakat al-fitr. You are just giving any other sadaqah. But you need to give it out before going for Eid, or let's say a night.
Is it possible not to have zakat al-fitr? I'm just thinking, if you don't perform that act, which is given to those in need, is there any consequence of that?
You see, when they say something is encouraged, and they say you have fasted 29 or 30 days, and they say this thing can perfect your fasting, can you afford to miss it? So it is sunnah mu'akkada.
But is it not possible not to have, to be able to give at all?
Thank you. They say when you have a qut yawmun wa layla, when you have a 24 hours, or let's say 48 hours, this thing, what you can eat, you are entitled to give out. So when you don't have, then la yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. You don't need to stress yourself or to borrow or to steal to give out. But as long as you have what is surplus, you are expected to give. And some scholars, they narrow it down to yawmun wa layla. That is 24 hours and 1 day and 1 day hour. So that is the only thing. But some are in thinking that no, you need to have more than that. But that is the minimum of what you can give as a Muslim who want to give, and it is compulsory. He says, "Yajib ala kulli Muslim wa Muslima." It is compulsory as long as you can afford.
Irrespective of age.
Yes, even if it is newborn baby this morning, the moment the Eid al-Fitr is taking place. So that is how it is.
Okay, the parents will give
on behalf. Yes, okay. On behalf of all the family members. Still now under you.
Fantastic. Many thanks. Architect Musa, I'd like to hear from you, what Eid means to you. Because, I'm saying this as a spiritual journey. It's personal to everyone. What the Chief Imam might have gotten from this year's Eid might be different from what you felt last year. And, same for you, differently. What was 2025 Ramadan like for you? And what's been the difference, really, looking at this Eid al-Fitr, Ramadan, compared to previous years that you have, engaged in this practice?
Well, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The personal experiences, especially on a spiritual journey, sometimes are left to be personal because you don't want them to be tainted with the possibility of show off or anything. But generally, the experience is that the more Allah gives us opportunity to live, the more we realize the importance of those opportunities, so that we can now harness the opportunities and do the righteous deeds that we failed to do previously. So for this Ramadan, as it's expected of every Muslim, that during the month of Ramadan, you are expected to be in your best behavior, because it's just like one of the presenters said, it's a training session. Do you understand? You acquire certain habits that are meant to be with you throughout your existence. So for the experience to be worthwhile, you need to put in more effort. And to collaborate, what Imam said, is the organization, your ability to take mastery of the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you. And then it reminds you generally of the purpose of existence. So, مَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, I have not created jinn and mankind except that they should worship me. And if we are meant to worship Allah, and then Ramadan gave us the opportunity to organize our lives in a spiritual form, in a way that at each time we're thinking of the next act of worship. Like she said, early in the morning you are already awake. That act of eating sahur is an act of ibadah. And then you're thinking of tahajjud, and then you're thinking of your Quranic recitation, you're thinking of going for the Islamic lessons, the tafsir of the Quran and other things. So it's a whole thing of a spiritual regimentary, something that you are meant to be organized and take mastery of your time. And then if that is it, I think the experience of this 2025 is worthwhile, but there is so much to improve on. Like when you have the likes of our pious predecessors completing the recitation of the Quran 30 times, like Imam al-Bukhari, completing the recitation of the Quran 30 times in the month of Ramadan. You have Imam Shafi'i completing it 60 times in the month of Ramadan. Then you reflect on how many times was I able to complete the recitation of the Quran, to reflect upon the lessons that are kept in the Quran. Now, it's left for us to compare it with what some pious predecessors have done. And then, it's an opportunity again to start yearning for the next Ramadan. Because you now feel that, I could have done this, I could have done. That is the life of a believer. A believer should always, a nafsul lawama, a self-reproaching soul. A soul that will say, I should have done this. I should have done more of this. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't. And that should be the reflecting moment. And then, like for Eid itself, generally, I think it's always a good experience that you come together and the Muslims are coming out to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then to also celebrate the end of Ramadan, and then we've been prohibited to fast on that particular day. Do you understand? To show that, in fact, that before you go out for the Eid, you have to eat in the morning. Is the sunnah. So that, you break away from that, yes, you have other things in your life. You could entertain yourself with other things. You are just coming out from Ramadan. Now eat and enjoy your life. But again, we always have to refer back to our pious predecessors. Among the pious predecessors, like Mu'alla bin Fadl, he would say that the earlier generations of the Muslims, their lives revolved around the month of Ramadan. The Ramadan was the fulcrum, and everything, it was the center point, and everything revolves around it. 6 months, we have 12 months in a year. So 6 months before Ramadan, they used to pray to Allah to spare their lives so that they can witness the month of Ramadan and pray. Okay. And then 6 months after Ramadan, immediately Ramadan is completed, and then the next 6 months, they use it to keep praying to Allah to accept what they have done. So that is the greatest lesson you can learn there, the lesson of humility. It's easy for us to feel spiritual and say we've done a lot of righteous deeds in the month of Ramadan, and then complacency sets in. But the lesson there is to humble yourself. You've not done enough. There is much more for you to do. And so even after doing all of those things, you come out on the day of Eid, and then you're praying to Allah. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, on the day of Eid, we are celebrating. And then on the day of Eid, he will come. He's one of the companions of the Prophet. And on the day of Eid, he will say to people, who is it that his deeds have been accepted so that we can congratulate him? And who is it that hasn't gotten his deeds accepted so that we can sympathize with him? So this is their mindset. You know, it's a whole lot of spiritual journey.
It's a whole lot of spiritual journey. Just like you said, it's like a phase. You are entering into another phase now. Well, thank you so much, Architect Musa, for that. We've talked about the importance of this Ramadan now. We are reflecting on it. And let's engage you, Ustaz, because we gathered that you will soon be leaving us for another assignment. What is the process actually involved in ushering in the Eid al-Fitr?
Okay. You see, the first thing, the Eid al-Fitr can be actualized through two ways. Okay. Either by seeing the new Hilal, that is the first day, that is Shawwal, by 29th day, as we witness this 2025 Ramadan fast. So, or by completing the 30 days of Ramadan, in case of not seeing any crescent. So now, as it has been actualized or announced by the authority, constituted authority, Muslim constituted authority, now the takbirat will start from that time. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Wallahi alhamd. You are expected to keep on saying it throughout the night, till the morning, till you are in the Eid ground. Yes, because وَلِتُكَبِّرُ اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ.
So once the moon is sighted, you start.
Yes. You are encouraged, highly encouraged, because it's the moment of adhkar and reflection. So now everyone is already aware that tomorrow is Eid. So you are expected to start preparing your zakat al-fitr also till that time of going to Eid. You are expected to give it out. After that, you need to put on take a ritual bath. You can combine the two. Take the ritual bath and put on your best clothes. That's why people prepare the new one. You are expected to carry all your family members to show the strength of Muslim population in each city or town. And as you are going out, you are also to keep on chanting the takbirat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Wallahi alhamd. You are encouraged to change the road as you are going in the, let's say you want to perform in the Eid ground, follow the area 1 exit. When you are coming back, to come through the bigger exits, let's say you are in area 11. So you are expected to go there without disturbing anyone. There is no azan or ikama. You go peacefully. You are expected to carry all your family members, including the women that are not praying, they are in their menses. So when you carry them, they are not to pray, but they will witness and they share the joy, love, and everything. You can see how people, you don't know anyone, but because you don't know people, this thing, but you come and stay. There is no difference between the rich or the poor. I can see yesterday I saw something very good. A minister sitting down with one who is worker in the mosque. I say, this one is Islam. So it shows equality. It shows humility. It's teaching somebody to feel that he's equal. Then immediately after the 2 rakat, you just turn to your left and say, Eidukum barak taqabbalallahu minna minkum, regardless of who is with your this thing. You are congratulating him, telling him that I wish you a blessed Eid celebrations. Taqabbalallahu minna minkum. May Allah accept it from you and from us. This is what you continue to say it and spread this thing, these congratulations messages. You can visit your friends, you can visit, you can call, you can text message. All these are the things that are around or surrounding the Eid celebrations. The focal points there: love, happiness, sharing, equality, and above all, devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Fantastic. Many thanks, Ustaz. I'll stay with you, because you're leaving shortly. You talked about love, sharing. I mean, the lessons of Ramadan are numerous. I mean, if we can imbibe the lessons, the world will definitely be a better place. Unfortunately, once Ramadan is over, it looks like people go back to, just any kind of living. When architect Musa was speaking earlier, he talked about the fact that once it's Eid, you're prohibited from fasting, which signals, you should eat and enjoy your life. So I'm asking, when we talk about enjoying your life after Ramadan, technically, because, I mean, you do all the tenets, the rules and everything you need to observe in Ramadan. I mean, you're free to relax and do some things outside Ramadan. That enjoyment, right? Does it mean that, you should? I'm trying to look for the perfect words. Yes, the perfect word, and then just hope that the next Ramadan, of course, you can go back to being as righteous as you were in the previous Ramadan. Is that what it should really be? The fact that you're no longer fasting?
No, it's not like that. In fact, it's a misconception and misunderstanding of the whole fasting is all what is about by some of our people. The wisdom behind Ramadan fast is to increase in spiritual well-being, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, to increase in piety, God consciousness. It's not telling you that after Ramadan you should go back. This is what we have been preaching and battling. Every cleric, every imam, every scholar is talking about keeping the lessons. Keep the lessons learned. Devotion, praying, recitation, good behavior, sharing, everything. So when you see or somebody perceive that after Ramadan we will go back to normal, do you know what that is? It's an indication that his good deeds are rejected and not accepted the way it's supposed to be. One of the symptoms, one of the indication that you have been accepted and your actions has been welcomed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the side of Allah, you are expected to continue with your righteous deeds. But squandering all what you have gathered in one day after Eid, through all these 29 days, you have uplifted your spirit, or let's say your religion. Now you are thinking that, okay, Ramadan has gone with his handcuff, with his this thing. So now I'm relieved now. It's very wrong.
So you're going back to your former life.
Yes, it's very wrong. In fact, we are expecting to see more because it's just like a training ground. It's where you can charge and recharge your iman's battery to energize your iman.
Okay, Ustaz, sorry, I need to just cut you here because I need to remind you your assignment for 8 o'clock. It's already 8 o'clock, so we need to let you go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, just like you said, it's a habit, just like you said, and also a pattern. Begin to live a life. Those are some of the reflections of Ramadan. Thank you so much for coming on Good Morning Nigeria, Ustaz Yahya Garba Al-Yowalawi. Sorry. Chief Imam Area 10 Jumat Mosque. Thank you for coming on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Highly appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let you go now. So let's come back to Dr. Olaofe. Now, we've been talking about, the lessons, the Ramadan, and the need to reflect on it. So the end of Ramadan ushers in EID FITR. What key things should a Muslim pick? Actually, what is the thing that you would advise that a Muslim should hold on to after the Ramadan?
Well, as usual, because whatever you do is being recorded by Almighty Allah. You should know that people watch any step you are taking. If you are good, you are good. If you are not good, there is no other name to it, except you change for better. Now, if they have known you, that you are so consistent in good behavior, then you have to continue with it. You give during the month of Ramadan to the needy. You do a lot of things during the month of Ramadan. you greet people, you associate yourself with people, then why are you doing it alone only during the month of Ramadan? It has to be extended. Let people see it in you. You know, religiously at times, it makes people to look as if they must be so restricted. A lot of things you need to do that you just need to use your wisdom in doing it. Not even going to the book at times. By seeing you as a Christian, do I need to run away for you? I don't need. Let's talk together. Even part of the development, how do we make Nigeria great? It's part of what should be taken even after Ramadan. Because if Nigeria is okay, you are okay. If Nigeria is good, you are good. So it's part of the lessons that we have learned during the month of Ramadan that we should extend what we call understanding within ourselves. And then we should see our nation as a bright nation that has futuristically things that we can put together to make Nigeria great. And then we should not forget to read about the past leaders, how they have come together to unite this country, how they have come together to do things together. Remember in 1960, who are those people that brought independence for Nigeria? They are not only Muslims. Both Muslims and the Christians, they brought independence for Nigeria. And they are working together as a nation. So don't be too religiously, whereby there are some things you need to, go into, then say it doesn't concern you. So it concerns you because politically, it's part of Islam. Economically, Islam discusses about it. Every aspect of life. That's why Allah says in the Quran, "Ma farratna fil kitabi min shay'in." There is nothing left untouched in the Holy Quran. So that is why after Ramadan, we should try and see that what you have been doing is not giving out rice or biscuit or whatever and stop there. You need to empower a lot of people. People are becoming beggar, even executive beggar. People you think that they think that you have money, they don't have anything. For example, somebody go to the mosque, then after the prayer, they approach you that, please, I don't know that I don't have enough oil in my car. So please, can you assist? Another person will come again. But if you empower them, they are very consistent in what they are doing, and they are very hardworking in what they are doing. It will be very difficult for anybody to beg because they are ready to stand on their own. But if you allow them, if you give during the month of Ramadan and then you stop there, then the same problem will still come back to you. Like Zakatul Fitri is quite different from Zakat. Zakat is whereby you give out money to empower people. Zakatul Fitri is, the end of Ramadan, give out maize, give out this, and then let them go and eat. It's not only food, it's not only eating that can solve problems. There are a lot of things. You can call a friend, come, what are you doing for a living? I've been seeing you for the past 3 years. I don't see any changes in you. Do you think your business is moving? In which area can I come in so that we can be able to work together? Because
I'm glad that you have said this, but looking at leadership in this country and in relation with the lessons of Ramadan and what Eid al-Fitr brings, would you say that there's a deliberate effort, by leaders, irrespective of whether federal, whether the subnationals, there's a deliberate effort, to imbibe these teachings of Islam in the way we're being led in the country?
You see, our leaders, you cannot blame all of them at the same time because it is not that they are not doing, but if they are doing and you are ready to comply with them is another thing. They give out money, they empower people, and those that they empowered, are they ready to, continuity matters in whatever they do. Leaders, they are there to lead you. For example, now we have President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who is our leader, our president of Nigeria. There are a lot of programs where we are seeing that empowerment, let us do this student loan, board, this and that. How do we, removing of subsidy, take money back to the states, governors, so that they can be able to carry out a lot of things in their different states, it's now left to the leaders of those states to make sure that things are moving on fine. If things are not moving on fine, they would take them responsible. So because the leaders in the top, they have done their best. It's not left for them to think that others who are suffering, how do we remove this poverty? How do we cannot, you cannot eradicate poverty. You can only alleviate it, because poverty stands on its own if you are ready to remain in poverty. So, but if our leaders can be so consistent and they are ready to work the way Mr. President is working, you know, he's not stingy. He wants everybody to make it. He always says something. When you are there, let others enjoy you, not only you and your family. I can remember that statement in one program we made with Mr. President, that you are making it, then don't think of only your family. Others, let them benefit from you. Because with that one, you see that sense of being a good leader is already exhibited by Mr. President. So our leaders need to do a lot in such a way that the masses are suffering, we agree. But do we reach out to them and find out what are they really doing for their living? So entrepreneurship is very important. Those who are in the university, you can graduate now and say that you want to start working under government. How much are they giving you? But if you plan very well, that, okay, let me be working with them and then stand on my own and be doing another thing entirely when I don't go to work, then you see that the spirit, the spirit of the Ramadan will come in immediately. That our Malams told us that we should be very hardworking, we should do this and that. Then with this one now, you have make a lot of impact to remove a lot of poverty from people, instead of leaving them just like that. Giving somebody one mudu, giving somebody a bag of rice, giving somebody this thing cannot solve any problem until you have time to sit down with them and listen to how they can find a lasting solution to the problems already on ground.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olaofe. There is need for maybe empowerment, just like
Very
you said,
important.
which is very, very important. All right, let's bring in Dr. Sadiq to this again to conversation. We are looking at the roles of the EID FITR right now, probably in promoting, unity and solidarity, amongst not only the Muslims but amongst other people.
Okay, so Eid al-Fitr is, I think, a very good example of how we can have unity. At the Eid prayer, we go to, ideally, the outskirts of the town, village, or city to meet with every member of the community. And one of those earlier speakers did talk about the fact that there's no difference between a rich or poor. I don't ask if the person sitting next to me is Yoruba or Bagi or Hausa. There's that unity. And we are happy together. You see that shared joy. And the wonderful thing about celebrations is that everybody wants to be happy. So there's that opportunity to share that sense of community outside of just the Muslim Ummah, even to the neighbors that may be non-Muslims. And it happens a lot. It might be a joke that your neighbor says, Hajia, I'm coming for Salah. But the neighbor may not be so comfortable to come on his or her own. But because they've given you that outreach, what does it take for you to send something to that neighbor? I'm celebrating, I'd like you to share my joy with me. And it doesn't have to be much. Personally, I don't cook, but it can, like some drinks, snacks. And if you do have food, excellent, rice, whatever you have, the person is going to be very happy with you. It's going to build community. The person is going to return your cooler. The person is going to say thank you. They may even put something back when they're coming. And you build a relationship, a neighbor that you may never have seen, especially the way our Abuja community is now. You may never have seen your neighbor for the entire year. But if you send something to that neighbor, this neighbor is going to feel a sense of camaraderie. There's going to be a relationship, a rapport that is built. You may never be tight friends, but they know that you don't mean them any harm. So we start to form community in that way. You can, take things, you can go with your friends to visit. Your neighbors can come to visit you. It's really a very good opportunity to build community, to build unity, to show that we are one. And I think it's a good time to encourage ourselves as a nation. And I'm happy I get a lot of my non-Muslim friends celebrating with me or sending me good wishes. We can reciprocate. We don't have to believe exactly in the same thing before we can share the joy that somebody else is sharing. And I think that's one beautiful part of Nigeria that I think we need to keep on. There is that within the beauty of the Eid, and we as Muslims can spread it further. We can extend it, and it's not too late. We can share the love today. If we were not able to share the love yesterday, we can still share it tomorrow. It's a public holiday, so we can send to our non-Muslim friends. We can invite them over to our places.
And I'm on that
to
list,
share with
by
them.
the way.
Please, you're welcome.
You can
we
see
can
I'm
even
dressed
go
for
together. You're dressed for it. You're dressed for it. So
I'm dressed for the treat
go
already.
To my house together, and today I can cook. Because, you know, sometimes that Eid day, I don't want to stress myself. But the second day of Eid, yes, I can cook. So you can come and you'll enjoy my cooking.
Thank you so much.
So
yes.
You are settled.
Yes, I'm very settled.
No, yes. I did hear you were planning to organize something. We can go to yours first, and then we'll come to my house.
Dr. Sadiq, that's political. Anyways, you know, I like the way you have spoken, but I'm thinking about the children in all of this. Society is changing. Social media, the effect of social media, peer pressure, and you know, trends are a bit different. I'm just thinking, how does this celebration, how does Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr, help shape the coming generation? You know, away from, I mean, all that we get to see happening in the Western world and what the social media, you know, brings to bear.
Social media is a blessing and a menace, and we are all aware. And sometimes the ills, especially for children, they far outweigh the benefits. Even those of us that are adults struggle with a lot of things on social media because you're basically scrolling through looking for something else, and evils like pornography stare you in the face. Evils like online bullying stares you in the face. Evils, things that you may not have otherwise been exposed to. However, we also do have the benefits because some of our young ones get the benefit or the beauty of Ramadan, for example, through short reels, through TikTok. They watch some of the muftis and the imams on some of those social media outlets. So for me, it's about early on getting them the right values. If they get the right values, then they can guide themselves. And we don't leave them alone. As a community, every mosque should have a youth section, should involve the youth. We should not leave them alone. We should not feel, okay, come for Tarawih, pray with us, and then go. They are different and the world is changing. So we need to get those scholars that can relate to them, that can listen to them, that can listen to their fears. A lot of them want to belong. So how can they belong without going out of the fold of goodness and righteousness? We need to start to think about this. And a lot of people are doing that. I mean, the Sahur Live had a youth segment, and it was a lot of interesting topics that could appeal to the youth and make them realize that you can be a good Muslim and still be maybe cool, if that's the word you want to use. You don't have to go outside of what is acceptable. And everybody knows what is morally right, although life and things are changing. So as an ummah, Eid itself is a time also where we can engage the children in sharing, in the humility. All of these lessons that we're bringing out now, right from the home, we also share it with them. And I like what a lot of people are doing now. Today in some areas we have fun fairs, picnics, Eid picnics. They're targeting the youth where, okay, come and have fun, but this is an atmosphere where we still are going to be living with Islamic tenets, where you're going to have the opportunity to meet with other like-minded people and still have fun and still continue the legacy and the lessons that you have learned from Ramadan. So we are in the right direction and we just need to continue on this way. I believe those are some of the steps that we can use Eid to build community and our youths at the same time.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sadiq. Now let's go to Architect Musa now. We looked at the influence of the social media on the Eid al-Fitr now. Let's look at the influence of local customs and traditions, traditions in different parts of the world. How does it affect the Eid al-Fitr?
Well, Islam is an all-encompassing religion, and then you have a legal maxim, al-adatu muhakkama. The custom of people is judged. It's something that is recognized in the religion as long as it does not go against the very the tenets of the religion itself. So, and because people are different and they're placed in different regions and they have their different cultural and the traditions, the cultural inclinations and traditions, this rule, this legal maxim accommodates all of those things, with the exception of the fact that if there is something that is contravening the tenets of the religion, then it is not to be recognized. That is why you go to a typical, the northern setting, their traditions and customs are different from the southwestern part of the country and also the southeastern part of the country. And each of these regions, you have Muslims that are living there. And then you go to Europe, they have their own culture. You go to Asia, they have their own culture. You go to the Arab countries, they have their own culture. So what Islam does is allowing all of these things to be permissible unless there is a clear injunction to their prohibitions.
Okay.
So people are allowed to display their cultural inclinations. They are allowed to, because that is what makes them to recognize and then to appreciate the joyous moment. Because if you are placed in an environment where the culture is alien to yours, and then they are celebrating, it will not be a celebration for you, because it will just be a moment for you, you know, to start reflecting on some other things, and then you sit down, then you are left alone without having to have the opportunity to participate. So that is very important for us to note. But against that backdrop, again, it is equally important for us to note that this celebration, you could go through this spiritual training for the whole month, and then you squander everything on the day of Eid. And then, like, when you, there is moderation in everything. Islam is a religion of moderation, and everything that we do, there is moderation. So when you go beyond the set limits in even celebrating the Eid, and then it involves like what some other people do, organizing parties, then some drinking, some smoking, some even committing fornication and other things in the name of Eid celebration, as if we've been in bondage and then now we're free. No, it's actually not a bondage. You've been taken through a process of spiritual cleansing. If there is anything at all for you to show is gratitude, that, oh Allah, I'm grateful that you have made me witness this month, and then I'm spiritually rejuvenated. And then now I promise to carry on with the lessons gained from the month of Ramadan. So different cultures, so you have to understand the things in your culture and customs that are against the teachings of Islam, lest you allow them to creep in while you're celebrating your Eid, and then the gains of Ramadan are lost within the twinkle of an eye. So it's very important that the clerics draw the attention of people to this, and then parents also, it's very important to guide the children to a worthy celebration that will be within the tenets of Islam. Islam is not anti-social. It's just that it guides us on how to socialize. It guides us on how to entertain ourselves, because in everything there are limits that are set. So different customs, different cultures, one Eid, but it must conform with the general principle of morality and moderation. There is no extravagance, there is no immorality in Islam. So whatever you are doing, morality and moderation. These two things are the guiding principles.
Morality and moderation. Fantastic point. And Islam is not antisocial. It guides you, you know, on how to live. Chief Imam, you know, sitting here and listening to all of this, I mean, for a Muslim, for a non-Muslim, it's just a period to reflect on our lives and, you know, how we live our lives. But I would like you to speak about non-Muslims and, you know, how they should deal and tolerate people of other faith. Maybe this time we won't talk about Islam. I'm asking that because, you know, like someone would say, some of us never really chose our religion. It's just an issue of birthplace, and you don't get to choose your birthplace. So you were born to a particular mother, and maybe you were born somewhere in the south. I mean, you automatically, you know, whatever it is that family does and all of that. But
We need to live together. We need each other. All right. So, what would be the teaching? What would be your message to non-Muslims on how they should tolerate people of other faith and deal with them?
Well, you see, in Nigeria, in which we find ourselves, we must tolerate one another. In Southwest, that I come from, like when the Christians are celebrating Christmas, irrespective of religion you belong to as a Muslim, you do go there. That was when we are very young. And when it is time for Salah like this, they will come. But the whole thing just changed. Maybe because of people just key in deeply into religion and carry it on their head. And why do I say that? The Muslims and the Christians, they should work together to make themselves happy within themselves. Now, as a Muslim, your best friend can even be a Christian, so that you do things together. Your mode of worship can be so different, but morality, understanding, educationally wise, and some other things you have acquired in your schools, they need to reflect in your life, so that that understanding will be there. When it comes to religion, lakum dinukum waliya din. Go and observe your own. Let me go and observe my own. It doesn't bring any crisis. But we look at ourselves in Nigeria, unless we are not ready to say the truth, as enemy to one another. The Muslims, the Christians, let them come together. And that's why we have NIREC. We have religious interfaith. They have been doing it several times. But does that change anything? That's the question we need to be asking ourselves. Personally, you should be asking yourself, who are your mechanics that normally repair your cars for you? Are they all Muslims? The pilot that carry you from here to Lagos, are they all Muslims? Then, the Samsung you are using, your mobile phone you are using, who are the manufacturers of those things? Are they really all Muslims? These are the things you should be asking yourself personally. That if we want to make ourselves happy, then we should not allow religion to carry us away from our own primary assignments in such a way that, for example now, Demola is sitting down here. Long time ago, whenever there's news, they say, let us bring in Demola from Lagos, but Demola is in Abuja now. So you can see that things will bring you together. The two of you are Christians, and you are asking the three of us who are Muslims questions about religion. If you hate Islam, you will not sit down yourself and look for somebody who asks these people questions. I'm not interested. But you are exhibiting that maturity, the love, understanding that we are one as far as Islam is concerned. We are one as far as this country is concerned. Let the Muslims and non-Muslims, let them work together. When in terms of development, they should work together. In terms of many other things that can be of benefit to themselves, they should work together. So if it's the issue of religion, let the Christian do their own, let the Muslim do their own, instead of abusing themselves, or unnecessary criticism that can never bring any unity. So these are the areas that we need to take a look into if really we want to live together as one family. So if we can do that, then we will not have any problem within ourselves. In your community where you stay, the chairman of your community can be Muslim. He can be Christian. For example now, during this, there are a lot of questions that normally come on board, which I don't even really like to key into it. Can the Muslims, when they cook Eid al-Fitr now, can the Christian collect fruit from them? And when it is Christmas, can the Muslim eat with the Christian? What type of question is this? Even the Yakoyo you go to and eat, do you know the people
How do
that
you know? Doctor, how do you know?
Do you
You
know
are
the
a
people,
prophet.
do you know the people that cook your food? And then you just get a give me food, and then you eat.
Okay.
So these are the areas that we just need to take a look into. And some Christians will say, no, don't collect ram from them. Oh. It's this thing, oh.
Sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice. So no, don't do it. Oh. Then all these things, the younger ones, the younger generation who are talented with a lot of a brave and brain, they'll just be looking at it. Are they all together? These are the primitive ideas and behaviors and actions that we just allow it to go like that. Let's come together as one family. If you cook, the only thing the Muslims are saying is that anyone you are cooking, just say that if you are giving me ram now, let them be Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let them mention the name of Allah in it. Now, you cannot even see that I know some Christians, when it's time for that Christmas, they will call the Muslim that come and slaughter this ram for us because we want you to let you be doing what you are doing so that all of us can work together and do it. So instead of sitting down somewhere so keen about religion, either being a Christian or Muslim, that you don't want to see yourself, this and that, it is never done anywhere.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olafe. I mean, you have hit the nail on the head because my dad was a Christian and my mom is Alaja. You know, so there is a lot of tolerance down south. And I think people have actually hammered on the fact that it's not about religion or about ethnicity, but it's about character, human character. That should be the judge. All right, so let's come to Dr. Sadiq. But I don't. Anyway, we still have more time so that we can talk about the significance of this Eid al-Fitr. We're looking at the impact of this increasing secularization and globalization, the effect of Eid al-Fitr. What is your take on it?
Globalization and secularization, I'm not sure, in my perspective, has too much effect on the way we celebrate Eid integrally, because we still go for our Eid prayer, we still give our zakatul fitr, we still do our sadaqah, our takbir.
You can do that via Zoom.
These are things that are personal. But I like the fact that you mentioned Zoom. Many of us have family members that are strewn across the world. And so sometimes we do have Zoom ceremonies, for example. So at the end of the day on Eid al-Fitr, we all link up on a Zoom call with family members all over the world just to wish ourselves well as part of the Eid celebration. So that is like a bonus. Sometimes you don't have to go all the way to Zoom.
But you can skip the Eid ground and decide to just maybe stream and do it.
You cannot do that if you have access to go to the Eid ground.
What if you don't have access?
So if you don't have access, Eid prayer itself is what we call a supererogatory prayer. It's the sunnah, although it's an emphasized sunnah. So if you can, it is almost compulsory. One of the ustazis mentioned that even the women that are not going to pray are expected to be there because we want to be together at that point. But we do have some Muslims that are up in space, that are on ships, that are sailing in ships, or at the time of Eid, they are on duty in the hospital, whatever it may be, that may not make it possible for them to go to the Eid ground. But they are still having that sense of worship. They will be doing the takbirs, the Allahu Akbar, the Allahu Akbar, even if they cannot be at the Eid ground. Some people stream Saudi Eid prayer just to have that sense of Eid, but they are not expected to pray behind the Saudi Imam or to pray. Like, you can do your nawafil, but it's not an Eid prayer because you are not with the rest of the community.
What happened during COVID-19, actually?
COVID was interesting for a lot of people. In my house, we prayed as a family.
Okay.
So my husband, my children, and myself, we prayed outside our house. In some communities, the estates were able to still get 3-4, like if you're living in a compound, maybe 3-4 families together. So maybe the other ustazis will have different experiences of how they prayed the Eid during COVID. So, but those are exceptions that are acceptable. Allah is very merciful to us, and Islam is a religion that encompasses everything. There's a ruling for everything. There's a ruling for exceptions. There's a ruling. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Islam is a complete religion. Everything has been taken care of, even if not specifically stated. Things like Google. If you look deep into Islam, you will find something, a ruling that you can link to how do we use social media. That's the beauty of Islam. And then we have our scholars that keep on researching and finding things that are, you can use as analogies to what is happening in the modern world, even though it was not there at that time. So not to the Eid itself, not too much has changed or can change because of globalization. We can share. So like I said, we watch them in Saudi and like, wow, Allahu Akbar, they're performing their Eid. Oh Allah, make it possible for me to go there for Umrah next year. Those are some of the feelings and the vibes we get from that. As per secularization, the issue may be the celebrations that some people do after the Eid. And I think a number of the brothers here have spoken about that. We cannot go to a nightclub because you are celebrating Eid and then you are doing all sorts of evil acts. We don't want that free intermingling between the sexes. That is not part of it. Nothing says I can't sit and talk to my brother.
We just hold you there because the director is calling that we should go on break.
No
when we
problem.
come back, you will just complete your thought.
Thank you.
So we take a break now. The conversation continues. Stay with us.
When we think about the digital economy, you can see it as the marketplace for digital goods and services. And increasingly, it's becoming a force to reckon with and an incredible contributor to economic growth because we've seen the growth in technology and digital platforms. Technology has it really permeated every aspect of life and business, the way we live, the way we work. And when we talk about the digital economy, we're really talking about leveraging technology and digital platforms in a powerful way to drive growth, to drive solutions to problems, to drive applications, and to provide services.
The digital economy is something that has the potential to help Nigeria leapfrog a lot of its development challenges, right? Because think about what the mobile phone did for Nigeria years ago. That is the potential we have for digital, because it has a way of reducing the barriers to innovation. It has a way of being able to transform service delivery, whether it's government's delivery of services or whether it's services in the health system where people can use digital to actually be able to see their patients better. But it takes a lot to realize that potential of digital. The first thing is like every other thing, there's an infrastructure you have to build to be able to make sure that digital economy can thrive. Think of something like, capturing that happens in Nigeria, right? Where you capture, people's biometric when they go for a driver's license, when they go for passports, and each of those are separate things. Can we actually a system where we're able to streamline that and actually have a platform that exchange biometric information that makes it easier for people to access passports, easier for people to register to vote. But today it's very tough, right? But those are basic infrastructure that needs to be invested in. A lot of it is through government and private sector collaborations to make it happen.
If we're looking to accelerate growth in the Nigerian space, we really need to look at enabling the digital economy. That includes providing digital infrastructure, connectivity, because that's the highway, like the highway that everything rides on. We need to think about digital capacity building in terms of the suppliers to the economy and also the consumers within the economy. So a robust digital literacy initiative. The good thing about technology is that, one, it helps you to transcend boundaries. Two, it creates a level playing field, really, because if you create a solution, a technology-based solution that is applicable in this environment, that same technology can be applicable, exported to other environments. And, technology platforms also help drive collaboration, right? When we're thinking about innovation, when we're thinking about business growth, collaboration is an important part of that. So when we think about the impacts with the rest of the world, we find that actually technology platforms are giving us an opportunity to engage more actively, to collaborate, to create partnerships, to even export our knowledge and services for people to engage with all the great things I'm talking about technology and digital platforms. They need access, internet access, broadband access. So we need to make sure that access is more available and affordable for the average user.
The most important thing is to think about where you want to go as a country and actually what type of policies are going to help get you there. There are examples of countries who've been able to transform using digital, for example. There are very clear things those countries did to be able to make it happen. So a lot of this, the pathway to be able to solve these problems are not mysterious, right? It takes courage of the policymakers to be able to understudy some of these things and bring in the policies that work to be able to help them.
Thanks for staying with us. You are still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and we are still discussing the 2025 Eid al-Fitr celebration. And before we went on the break, Dr. Sadiq, let's just allow you to complete your thoughts there.
Thank you very much. So we were talking about how globalization and secularization may have affected the celebration of Eid, and I did establish that in the celebration itself and the act of worship, there's really no difference. But sometimes the benefits of globalization are felt. You feel as part of a larger community because you get to watch on live streaming, on Instagram, on Facebook, what is happening in other parts of the world during Eid. So it makes you feel as part of a larger community. Now for the secularization, I was talking about some of the pitfalls sometimes, especially with the youth, who feel that they want to celebrate in the same way that other people celebrate. So maybe in the evenings of Eid, they go to the nightclub, and that nullifies, if they're not careful, everything that they've built up as spiritual gains during the month of Ramadan. So I was also talking about the aspects of intermingling of the sexes freely. This is something that is frowned upon in Islam, and if you're not careful, if you say because you want to celebrate, you're going to be doing that, you may also be losing some of the gains that you have gotten. But generally, I don't see any negatives on the whole scale of things from secularization, especially when you know your own values and you keep to your values.
All right, many thanks, Dr. Sadiq. Let's get back to architect Abdullah Musa Pen Abdul. As we begin to round up this conversation, I'd like you to speak, to our leaders. It's like you said, in the past, the first 6 months, or I think it was Ustaz that said, the first 6 months before Ramadan, you're praying, that you see Ramadan, and then after Ramadan, you're praying that your prayers are answered. I'm sure that a lot of people in leadership position, of course, have taken part in Ramadan. They have prayers, they have vision for the country and all of that. So I'd like you to speak about what you would like to see being done differently, in terms of leadership style, in terms of politics in the country and the way things are being done politically, even as we look forward to another Ramadan.
Well, generally, I think leadership position, it's a position of sacrifice, not of luxury. And if there is anything that our leaders should use as a standard for gauging their own existence in the position of leadership, is the transient nature of leadership and what it comes with of responsibilities. It's just like an imam. If you're leading 10 people and you make mistake, or you are not that qualified to lead 10 people, it means you have the mistakes of 10 people to stand in front of Allah to bear. If you're leading 100 people and then you make that, it means the mistake is the burden is even bigger And then you have 1 million people, and then you have 100 million people, and you have 200 million people. So it's not leaders. Leaders are to be prayed for, not to be praised. Leaders are to be prayed for, not to be praised. You pray for their success, not praising them because they are not yet successful until they stand in front of Allah, and then they are free to go because you don't know the responsibility they are carrying. And our training as Muslims and adherents of the pristine teaching of Islam is that you don't come out and insult the leaders. You pray for the leaders. And one of the pious predecessors, he said, if there was an assurance for me that one of my prayers will be accepted, that I have only one prayer that God will accept, he said, I will use that opportunity to pray for the reformation of the leaders. That's how they think. That's how leadership is. So I want to assume that our leaders that went through the Ramadan period with us would have used the opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to all of us to pray that Allah should guide them in leading and to make things easy for them. You cannot be too intelligent to lead without the assistance of Allah. So at each time, the humility of the leader before his creator paves way for his success. Each time a leader is humble and prays to Allah to guide him in that leadership, then he becomes successful. And then don't look at it from the position of I'm gaining or from the position of I'm leading. I was watching a professor yesterday, an American professor, and was taking the students through the history of the second Caliph, the second leader of Islam after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, when he conquered Jerusalem, when he conquered Palestine and then went to Jerusalem. The representative of the Pope then that was there, he came out with his regalia, gold chains and other things, and he saw the leader of the Muslims holding the reins of the camel that his servant was on because they were taking turns. And then he was wearing clothes that were patched clothes. And then he felt so embarrassed that you are the leader of this army that conquered this region, and then this is how you dress. They understood leadership to be a burden. It's not something of luxury, honestly speaking, if I were to speak the honest truth. So when leaders start looking at it from that perspective, that it's not about personal gains. It's not about building my people. Everyone is your person. Everyone under your leadership is your person. And as long as that person has problem, you have problem as a leader. But if you make effort, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكَانَ سَعْيُكُمْ مَشْكُورًا. On the day of judgment, it will be said to those people that will go to heaven, may Allah make us in, your endeavors are well appreciated. It is the effort. You cannot be able to satisfy all Nigerians. But that sincere effort that you make in ensuring that there is ease and people are living in secured environments with that fear of God in you, it's what Allah will reward. وَكَانَ سَعْيُكُمْ مَشْكُورًا. So look at leadership as a burden, not a luxury.
Leadership as a burden. That is, leadership is service.
It's service. So when the leaders look at it from that perspective, the leader will not go to bed comfortably if he knows that something is bad. And that is not theory. It is something that people have put into practice. We've seen it demonstrated. I made a presentation on TEDx some years back, 2019. And I gave example with Mandela. I gave example with Mahatma Gandhi. I gave example with Tafawa Balewa in my TEDx talk. And I was saying that look at the way they lived. Very ordinary life they lived. I picked up the picture of Tafawa Balewa drinking sugarcane with two of his kids seated. And the house that Mandela was brought up in, he didn't have the need to renovate and to break it down. And then Mahatma Gandhi, when he left this world, what he left behind. And then the Prophet of Islam as the leader of all. Do you understand this? So it's something. It's not something of showing that, yeah, I have to exercise the absolute power that I have. The Prophet ﷺ saw Abu Mas'ud al-Badri. He was about to hit his servant, and then the Prophet held his hand from behind, and he said, Wallahi, Allah has more authority over you than you have over this servant of yours.
Thank you very much, Architect. Well, Dr. Olaofe, now we're talking about the servant rulership and all that stuff. Now let's talk about the issue of EID FITR. I was just talking about EID FITR and the issue of materialism. Because a lot of people during this, celebration, you see them, in that big regalia and all that stuff. What is the balance between spiritual and material aspects, during the EID FITR?
Well, it is very simple. We are advised and encouraged to wear good clothes on Salah Day, if you have. And there is no need for you to say you want to go and sew new clothes, either to put yourself in trouble by borrowing money to go out. The one you have at home, you can make them neat again. So until when you tell people that this is a new cloth before people knows. So is advisable, because an-nasafat min al-iman, cleanliness is part of faith. Because if you appear very neat, anytime, any day, people will respect you. And then if you always look so dirty, then that shows whatever religion you belong to, you are not practicing it. For example now, if you want to enter into the mosque to perform either the compulsory prayer or the nawafil, then you must perform ablution. And that's why they said, La salatan liman la wudu allahu. There is no prayer for anybody who does not perform ablution. Like this materialism we are talking about, I want to show off, I want people to see that I'm wearing these big clothes.
Even if they don't have the
means.
means.
If they don't have the means, you don't do that. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها. Allah does not put a burden on anybody. So if whatever you have and you maintain it very well, it's just like having a car. Then you now say because Eid al-Kabir or Eid al-Fitr, you have to change your car to buy another one, you are taking it to Eid Grand. How many people will know that you have a good new car to the Eid Grand? So you go and observe your prayers and go back. And all this materialism, or material things rather, we just need to be very careful, because it doesn't end. There's a verse in the Holy Quran that says, Kullu man alayha fan. Everything will perish. وَيَبْقَ وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. The face of your Lord full of majesty will remain. If you go around the world, you see some houses in the olden days, very big houses, very beautiful, well polished, this and that. Where are those houses now? Where are those people living there? Those who have the money then, who lives in the upstairs in the olden days, they are no more. And their children are not even in Nigeria. Say, well, you better tell the family to sell this thing out, because we are not interested in living in this country. In fact, if we are even living there, the type of life the US people are living, they don't all these big houses like Nigerians. I've been there. So all these 3-story, 4 stories Nigerians are enjoying, staying mansion. They don't have time for it. So, and that is why the spirit of Eid al-Fitr should need to reflect in us that even when you have 20 cars, if you die today, what will happen to those cars? I was watching a program on social media the other time. A wealthy man has a house somewhere and then built with gold and everything. They were just showing the house and the rooms and everywhere. But the owner of the house has gone. So who will now maintain those houses? So that is why if you are going for Eid al-Fitr or you are going for anything, the little one you have, make use of it, and then don't look extravagant. Don't show up. So that even the needy you are giving the rice and other things to, so they will just be looking at you. Look at him. They are giving us rice. Look at the clothes they are wearing. They don't even know whether we have clothes to even wear or not. So a lot of things you need to do to make sure that You don't entice people. You don't let people know that you are there. You know, encourage them. The little you can do for them, do it. And be asking yourself question that even all these things I'm doing, how long will it going to stay? How long is it going to last? So all these things.
Many thanks, Chief Imam Dr. Musa Alaofe. Dr. Rashida Sadiq, my question to you would be, you know, your message to the young people, you know, how they should carry on with their lives as we look forward to another Ramadan next year. And I'd like you to also share your thought about the fact that everything that we do these days is on social media. I don't know if Islam, you said Islam talks about everything. You know, when we give now, we put on the camera when you give. I'm sure there's a cut of FITR. I'm sure many people gave and also put on the camera and said, oh, I gave this woman, you know, 2 cups of rice and all. Is that what it should be? You know, are we supposed to show all that we do? What does Islam say about all of that?
All right, thank you very much. I hope I will have enough time, but I want to start with a hadith of Prophet.
You will not have enough time. Just in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Because you're almost running
so
out.
I have 2 minutes, but there is a hadith. I will paraphrase then.
Okay,
there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that mentioned some people that said and felt they were doing things for the sake of Allah, but they did it to show off. And it was reported that all of those things they did would be rejected from them. So if you are giving out charity and the next thing is for you to put it on social media, oh, see me giving out to the poor, or see me doing this, see me doing that, it is likely that your charity may not be accepted. Wallahu alam. However, in Islam also, there is the place of giving charity publicly, possibly to encourage others to do the same. So what is your intention? And there's a way you do it. There's a way you do it that, you know, shows your humility. There's also somewhere in the Quran and the Hadith that talks about giving and not saying bad words, or not always referring to it. Because I could give you something and then come and say, ah, my sister, this is my shoe I gave you. It's so nice. So, hey, I'm so happy I gave you this shoe yesterday. Like, what is that? I'm expecting you to say thank you again. I want the whole world to know that I was the one that gave you this shoe. That is nullifying what you've done. So, please let us be clear in our intentions. Let us be careful about the menace of social media. It does bring more harm than good, especially when you're doing it. Show off is not a part of Islam. In short, show off is one of those things in Islam that are related to shirk, that can make you fall out of the fold of Islam if you are not careful. So I have 1 minute more maybe, so I'm going to talk to the youth as you've asked me to talk to the youth. I think youth of Nigeria, youth of the world, it's time for you to be reflective, to take ownership of yourself, to know your values, and to build your life around who you want to be, who you should be. I think it's important that we beware of peer pressure. We beware of social media pressure, of influencer pressure. You can be an influencer. That's what I want to say, and I want everybody to try to be a positive influencer.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sadiq. Now, finally, let's get your thought on this. What steps can be taken to ensure that the Eid al-Fitr remains a positive impact, you know, in the lives of the people?
Well,
30 seconds, we're almost out of time.
Okay. I think basically when we do it as it should be done, it will give the needed impact that is expected of it. When people come together to pronounce the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then they remind themselves that Allah is great, and then we are all servants of Allah, and then that's realization of our servitude to Allah will always make us put ourselves in the position that we really are in, and then the spirit of sharing love, joy, and giving will be sustained. And then you know that it's not just for that day, it should be something that should be sustained. Whenever Allah gives you, remember those that are below you.
Dr. Alaofe, you would round up the conversation for us today. Your final thoughts, maybe in 20 seconds?
Well, I just want all of us to always clear our mind and have good intention towards ourselves. And then we should not forget, Nigeria belongs to all of us. Whatever you can do to me, that I'll be very happy do to others. And we should not forget to be very close to our leaders in giving them advices. And they should be very good listeners to reflect and do the needful, because that is the best way they can govern this country. So leaders, they must listen to us, and they should always share from our own difficulties and then experiences, and then they should come to our aid to assist us. So if they have the mind of doing it, we'll be very happy with them. If they're not interested, we'll keep on talking to them.
All right. We hope they'll be interested and they would, do the needful. Many thanks, Chief Imam, Dr. Musa Laufe, Chief Imam and Saruddin Society of Nigeria, FCT. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Barkada Salah once again.
Thank
and, of
you.
course, I'm sure you know that we are all following you for the celebration. Ustaz Yahya Graba Al-Yulawi. He left us, but he did join us in the course of the conversation. And of course, architect Abdullah Musa Pen Abdul, an Islamic cleric. Thank you so much for your insights. We appreciate you. Barakat Salah again. And Dr. Rashidat Sadiq, an educator and life coach, of course. The train doesn't end today. I'm going to be moving from one Muslim friend to the other until the day ends. So,
I hope we'll be able to see you tomorrow or next.
No, I'll
tomorrow.
be too full. I think I would need tomorrow to detoxify. All right. So that's good morning, Nigeria. This Monday, it's a public holiday. Of course, Eid al-Fitr is still being celebrated. Barakat Salah to all our Muslim faithful out there. I'm Ian Ray John. Live it locked on the NTA.
And I'm Ademola Adeoye. Do have a wonderful Salah celebration.